Hotep everyone, this is Bastmuttepta, and this video is a long overdue video. It's one that I had promised I was going to do a long while back and never really got around to, partially because it's a somewhat controversial topic. It's one that not a lot of people feel comfortable with. It's one that even I can say right now, I'm just waiting for what I'm going to say that someone's going to misconstrue, just because it's just, by nature, it's one of those types of topics. But I do believe it is something that, I have my own personal interpretation of, my own personal feelings about, and that's all I can really offer you. The way that I see it is not the same way that someone else sees it, not even the way someone else within the house may see it, but it's just the way that I approach the topic, and the way that, it really connects with my spiritual practice. And the topic I'm talking about is the idea of having a Nisut, or a pharaoh, within Kemetic Orthodoxy. Now, sometimes, people might ask things like, well, why do you need a pharaoh? What's the point of having a pharaoh and everything? Well, honestly, she's really not that different from having, a pastor in a church, or a priest in a Catholic church, or a pope. You know, if if you think about it that way, it's really not that difficult to understand. Um, I think probably the closest equating I can do, is that equating? The closest thing I can equate it to is the idea of the Pope in Catholicism. She acts as an intermediary. Um, we believe that she has within herself the kingly ka, um, which is basically, it's something that has been imbued to her. The godly soul that has been imbued to her. Which to me really isn't anything different than the idea that God chooses the Pope. You know what I mean? It's like every Pope that has gone through in Catholicism, the idea is that, you know, they are the uh, intermediary. They're the one who brings forth God's law and everything, and what they say is canon. It's pretty much the same way for us, other than the fact that I don't really think we're as, I don't want to use that word again. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with this topic, but it's one of those things where we're not really like that hardcore about it. Um, our attitude towards Hemet, obviously, when she's acting in a position of being our Nisut, like let's say we're in the middle of a ritual and she's acting as Nisut in this ritual. Obviously, we're going to show her loads of respect, and our attitude towards her is going to be very, very proper. But outside of that context, if we're just meeting for dinner or something, we're not going to be like bowing at her and going all crazy like that. Like, no, because in that capacity, that's Tamara. That's it's not, she's not acting in the same capacity. She is at all times, Hemet, she is our Nisut, but just because of that doesn't mean that she's not also a human being, and she's not someone that we're friends with and someone that we connect with, and all of those other things. She doesn't drop those aspects of herself just because she's the Nisut. This is an addition to who she already is. So really, it's not as crazy as people like to think. The idea is they feel like, oh, well, you've got this leader, and all these people are following her, and they don't question her, and they worship her, and all this stuff, and she wants to be elevated to be a god, and all things like that. I'm like, come on, people. I understand that maybe on paper it looks a little weird, but I guarantee you, if you saw person-to-person interaction the way that we as a group interact with her, like, all of that would totally go out the window. Um, Obviously, we're very thankful to her for everything that she's done. We show her a great amount of respect for as much of her time as she donates to our community, for just everything she's done. I mean, for crying out loud, this woman dedicated her whole life to this temple, and to be quite honest, she really doesn't get much out of it. I mean, maybe emotionally and spiritually, but material wise, she gets nothing. If anything, she's losing material wise. So, I mean, that's a gift to us. That is a gift. And that's something that we are more than thankful for. So, yes, people will show her a great amount of respect. People will, even go so far to write things about her, or give her gifts and things of that nature. But it's not like we're not showering her with crazy things or whatever. She's not up sitting in her apartment with like gold and jewels and stuff that we've, given to her, and thousands of dollars that people are giving to her. And I'm not going to go into the big gigantic joke that I'm thinking of right now that includes certain females of a certain sexual orientation that are hidden under her bed, and none of you guys are going to get that, but I'm really trying not to touch on that topic. But anyway, let's put it this way. There are lots and lots of really stupid rumors that get perpetuated about Hemet and about where donations go in the temple and everything, and I can just say 100% that 99% of them are a crock of shit. And that's just me being blunt. When we donate to the temple, we have a choice of where to put the money. We have a choice of, okay, well, this is going to the temple fund, so this is going to temple upkeep. Things like, the boiler. We just got a new boiler put in, and it was really ridiculously freaking expensive just because of how old the other boilers were. We had a couple other old ones. We replaced it with one really badass boiler that cost a lot of money. So obviously money needs to go towards that. And then there's another one that says, well, helping out with Hemet's expenses. Just because, I mean, she was a full-time priest. I mean, and now she's maybe not as much full-time, but she's still a lot of her time donated to this. So obviously we have that option of where we want to send our money. But like I'm saying, it's not to me any different than, a pastor or a priest in a church. She teaches us, she guides us. She's a mentor, she's a friend. It's not like she's off on some pedestal somewhere that, we don't have, thou art not worthy to be within her presence. It's not like that. Not even remotely. And, I feel like people have this misconception that she's, like, sitting on some throne somewhere, and we're all, like, bowing towards her and singing her praises and showering her with gifts and, like it's that type of thing, and following her every word without question and all this other stuff. And that's not even remotely what we do. And just because we have a quote-unquote figurehead of sorts doesn't make us a cult. We're not a cult. If we were a cult, then we would all be believing the same thing. We would never question anything that Hemet says or anyone else says. We would all just be dressing the same, and we'd be basically removing ourselves from the rest of the world, not involving ourselves in anything else. We'd all be living in some communal place somewhere, getting ready to drink the Kool-Aid, and that's not what's happening. I do like Kool-Aid, but not that kind of Kool-Aid. So basically, it's a lot of the times it's just one of those things you just have to shrug off, as people just don't get it. They don't. And it's not that people are stupid, because I think that a lot of people are a lot more intelligent than people give them credit for. It's ignorance, and that's not necessarily like bad thing. Sorry, my computer keeps wanting to go into my screensaver. But it's not necessarily like a bad thing. It's not like it's an insult to people to say that they're ignorant of something. Because there's a difference to me for willful ignorance and just being ignorant of something. I'm ignorant of a lot of things. There's a whole lot out there that I know nothing about. It's because I haven't taken the time to look into it. And I feel like that's the way it is with a lot of people. They come up with this opinion about something, but they're really ignorant towards the subject because they haven't, experienced it or studied about it, or they've only heard one side of the story, yet they've already formulated this whole opinion about it. And to me, the only resolution to that is to bring forth that information that they're missing and say, hey, take a look at this. Maybe it'll change your opinion, maybe it won't. But at least after seeing this, then you can make an informed decision on your own. And that takes away that element of ignorance to where someone's opinion has weight. And I just feel like that's the way, a lot of people just don't understand, because all they've seen and all they've heard is just the negative. They really don't have the other side of the story, nor do they have the opportunity to, experience an unbiased situation regarding that topic. It's always an either or. Either I really, really support it, or I really don't support it. There's not that element of that person being able to come to their own conclusion, because everything is just so charged one direction or the other. But anyway, so I do think it is necessary to have a Nisut. I think it is necessary because even though, she is a human being just like anybody else, she was the one given this responsibility. And honestly, I would not want that responsibility. Everything that she has to do for us, the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of dedication, it's just so draining. And it's so draining. And sometimes I wonder how the heck she does it and she's still alive. I mean, I am just amazed at how much she has to go through and, how much she does for us, and she still, comes out of it relatively unscathed. I would not wish that upon anyone. But the fact that she takes it upon herself, that she has accepted that responsibility, and she chooses to go forth with it every day, that is something to be admired, and that is something to be respected. So, as a Shemsu Ankh, I do believe that she has the kingly ka. She is my Nisut. She is, my spiritual teacher, my mentor, etc., etc. Now, that's not necessarily a position that you have to have within the house. You can be a member of the House of Netjer and not really, flat out agree 100% that that's the case. It just, you get to a certain level of membership where that does become an important thing. And for me, as a Shemsu Ankh at this current level, that is an important thing. Especially, at this level. Or earlier on, as a Ramaj or a Shemsu, it might not matter nearly as much. As long as you respect her as a person, respect her as a teacher, realize that, a lot of our beliefs do come through her. And not that her word is the almighty law, but that the things that she says hold extreme weight within our faith. And, seeing as she founded the religion, it's kind of her word is canon to what, we believe. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I need to say about the topic. I know this is going to probably generate some kind of weird discussion. People might get all up in arms about it, about the term pharaoh being used and everything, but you have to understand, it's a spiritual nation. We don't believe that she holds claim to Egypt or anything, that with, you know, she's not the pharaoh of the geographical plotted land known as Egypt. That's beside it. It's the spiritual nation of Kemetic Orthodoxy. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to attempt to actually pay attention to the comments this time around. I know prior to today there's been like no videos, and I really haven't been checking the comments at all, just because whenever I come to YouTube, it wants to send me to my old channel because that's the one connected with my current email address. So basically, I'm going to try to make a point to check this account more often and check the comments and everything and try to respond. But keep in mind, again, clean debate is welcome, but no personal shots at anyone, that me or anybody else. No, you know, off-topic stupidity, like, oh, your religion of fat people, or some stupid crap like that, or oh yeah, is that dot on your head part of your religion? I have heard it all. I have heard it all already. I don't need any more of it. You know, it's not going to make me go, this commenter doesn't like me. Oh my god. I don't really care. I don't care. I would just rather keep my comments clean, in the sense that people don't have to come by and read something stupid when they're expecting to read something that, I don't know, is a legitimate opinion of some sort. So, again, comments, questions, constructive criticism, debate is welcome. Just keep in mind that, you know, I will be responding with my own personal viewpoint, and that's, you know, all that I can really do is speak for myself. If it's something that I feel like is beyond me or that I don't have a full comprehension of in some way, I will direct you elsewhere. There are others who have far deeper comprehensions of certain topics than myself, and I'm sure that they would be more than welcome to help you. So I guess that's it for now, and I hope that this was at least somewhat informative, and Snapty.